Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the A Little Craft Room podcast. My name's Nicola, I own a little craft room and you can find some of my social medias down below. If you are a new viewer, then welcome to my podcast. This is where I talk about my knitting, my crochet, what I've been up to, just things like that. And if you're a returning viewer, it's lovely to have you back. It's been a couple of weeks since my last podcast. I've completed a couple of things. Really excited to show them to you. And I've started a new one. Very excited to show you that as well. So yeah, let's get into it. Today I am wearing the Rosebud cardigan. I have already worn this on a podcast before, but it's definitely been this kind of day today. I mean, the sun has just started to come out, but it has been really rainy, really windy. It has been a proper kind of stay inside and cozy up kind of day. So yeah, the Rosebud cardigan seemed perfect. It's by the designer is Janine Miska of Knits and Knots. I made this, can't remember whether it was last year or the year before, but it's from her Modern Crochet Sweaters book. I've got a lot of patterns in there that are on my list. I really like all of her patterns. She's brilliant. This is the fourth of the Rosebud collection that I've made. 3 for myself and 1 was a gift. But yeah, I love her designs. She's great. And I made it in Red Heart Soft Classic yarn in the colour Rose Blush. And I believe it's an 100% acrylic yarn. But for this particular one, I really wanted something that was going to be a kind of throw on, not bothered if it gets a bit tatty kind of cardigan. So I picked an acrylic for that because I just wanted something that I could lounge around in and not have to worry about ruining it. The only difference that I did for the from the original pattern was that I made it longer. And instead of the waist tie, I added buttons and buttonholes for the fasten because that was kind of more what I was after. But yeah, like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this one because I have already done it. I think it was in episode 2. So yeah, I've got far more information about it in episode 2 if you wanted to go back and have a look. But the real featured item for this podcast is a project that I finished. Anybody over on my Instagram or my TikTok might have already seen this, but it is my latest design, and it is the Lily Beret pattern, which I am very, very excited about. So I finished this, I think it was the week before last. I've had it blocking, and yes, it is now finished. I'm still the pattern's not live yet. In fact, the testers are about to get it imminently. I'm just waiting for everybody to join the group. But yes, it is about to start undergoing the testing process, and I am very excited to get this one out into the world. I'll just show you again, because I know it's my design, but I'm very happy with the detail on that one. So this was inspired by the Lily bag, which is a pattern that I released in 2021, and it's a market bag. In fact, I think I might have, yes, there we go. So this was the market bag design that I did in 2021, the Lily bag, and I decided that actually I really quite liked that kind of flower motif in the middle, and I really wanted to, I thought it would work really nice on a beret. So that was kind of the inspiration behind this one. And I knew that I've wanted to make this for quite a while, pretty much not long after I'd created the Lily bag, but it took a little bit for me to actually kind of get going with it, but it's done and I'm so excited. I really like it. And this was actually a collaboration with Cozy Kitchen Fibres, who are a yarn company in the southwest. They do some beautiful hand-dyed yarns. So yeah, I was working in collaboration with Cozy Kitchen Fibres for this one, and they dyed this yarn specifically for this design. So this colorway was created with this design in mind. I kind of told her what I was kind of planning on doing, and all the kind of the plan behind the lily bag, that I was going to use the same kind of motif design. And yes, this was the colorway that they came up with. It's a beautiful yarn. So this one is in their merino silk base, which is 50% merino, 50% silk, and it just gives the most gorgeous drape. Like, I mean, it's perfect for a beret design. It just hangs so lovely. And I have some other skeins of their merino silk that I bought quite a while ago, so I already knew how beautifully soft and drapey this yarn was. So that was why I was like, I know exactly which one would work really well for this beret design. It is in a fingering weight yarn, and yeah, I'm so in love with this colorway. We were chatting about what color to make it, and I sent some kind of photos, some kind of inspiration photos for the colors, and honestly, she nailed it with the colors. Like, it is exactly like spot on what the picture was. So yeah, it was really, really well done. And the colorway, we decided on the name Cavoli, which is from the it's from the like Latin name of that particular kind of variety of lily. So yeah, the Cavoli colorway, which will be available to buy on the Cozy Kitchen Fibres website, as part of a pack with this pattern as well, which is very exciting. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with my latest pattern. It took a little bit. The bit that took the longest is actually one of the bits that I'm happiest with, kind of as part of the finished product, which is the band for going around the head, because my crocheters will know, crochet is not known for its stretchability. It's not the stretchiest of yarn arts. I mean, you know, there are definitely some stitches that do work and have a bit more stretch, but on the whole, if you were to compare it with knitting, for example, crochet is far less stretchy. But I wanted a stretchy headband, so I played about with it quite a lot. There was quite a lot of ripping back involved, and I did manage to get a stretchy headband. So it works very well, and it means that you're not kind of trying to wrench it over your head, or having to kind of have it really, really loose and then pin it on. So yeah, there is a little bit of give in it, which I'm very happy with. So yeah, that's one of the bits that I'm happiest with, is that headband area. And yeah, it should just mean it's a little easier for people with slightly different sized heads, and it means that I don't have to do millions of different versions with all the different sizing information. I do plan on having sizing information in the pattern. There is already some in there, but yeah, it means that it's going to be easier for people to make it perfect for their own measurements. Oh, hello, thank you very much. Yeah, so the test call has been done. Like I said, I'm just waiting for the testers to all join the group, and then it will be underway. And I'm so excited to see all these lily berets. I'm so excited to see what they do with it, see what yarn they choose, and yeah, to get this pattern out into the world. Plan is that I will be releasing this in October, testing permitting, because I really want it to be released with enough time for people to make it for themselves just before the weather gets like really, really cold. So yeah, the plan is for an October release for the Lily Beret pattern, and I'm very excited about it. So that's my kind of like my big featured project for this episode. That's been in the works for a while now, so I'm very excited that it's finally done. It's exactly how I wanted it to be. So yeah, lots of happiness that one has worked out. So it kind of is a finished object as well, but I'm putting it more in the kind of the featured item category for this one. But yeah, The Lily Beret, coming soon. Speaking of finished objects, I also have a second finished object, and I did say in my last podcast that I was really hoping that this one would be finished, and I really wanted it to be finished by, so I filmed the podcast on the Wednesday and I really wanted it to be finished by the Friday, and I did it. Yes. So I was making the Accentuating Crewneck sweater by Zanete Knits, which it turns out I've been pronouncing wrong all this time. Sorry. So it's Zanete Knits. And yes, I started making the Accentuating Crewneck. I started making it when we were travelling around the UK, and I really wanted to finish it by not the Friday just gone, the Friday before, because that will have meant that it was exactly 3 weeks that it took me to make it, and I did. So this is officially my quickest knitted sweater, because I've crocheted ones quicker than that, but my quickest knitted sweater is now this one, and I'm so glad that it's finished. I have used this so much already, like I've worn it a lot. I'll go into the yarn first though. So I used a longer Vecana yarn for this one, and I used two held together. I used their merino and their silk mohair. I do have some left over, so there we go. Those are the ones that I used. So it's the merino with the silk mohair, both in the colour Jade, and these just worked so beautifully together. So this is 100% superwash merino, and this is 72% fine kid mohair and 28% mulberry silk, and it has just made the snuggliest sweater, and I'm really happy with it. It is very fluffy. I don't know whether you're going to get you can see a little bit of the halo, a little bit, but yeah, it's so warm, it's so cozy. I made this one in the size 3, and as you can see I've got some left over, so in the end I used 827 meters of the merino and 857 meters of the silk mohair. So I'm gonna have to find something to do with those. I'm sure I'll find something. But yeah, I used slightly less than the pattern predicted, but rather that than realise that I've run out and I'm going to need to get more. So yeah, definitely rather that way around. The pattern was very well written, easy to understand. This shoulder section I did find a little interesting because I hadn't done a shoulder construction like that before. So I will see if I can show you the shoulder construction. So this is the neckline, and then you kind of increased as you went down the shoulder, and then picked up from the other side, and it was, yeah, I just found it really interesting. I quite like that you've got that line down the shoulder. I just think that's a really interesting feature. So yeah, that was one I hadn't done before, but the rest actually was really quite simple, mostly stockinette stitch. And that was one of the things I actually quite liked about this sweater, is that, you know, it wasn't anything super complicated, it wasn't anything fancy, it just looked like a lovely sit on the sofa, have a cup of tea, read a good book on a rainy day, that kind of thing. So yeah, it was kind of the perfect vibe for the kind of the image that I had in my head. My one mistake with this one, I say a mistake, it wasn't a mistake, but I have a very bad habit of not fully reading through the whole pattern before I start a project. I just kind of open the pattern and start. I mean, I'll look through the gauge information and, you know, the materials and things like that, but I will very much skim it, and then at the end, or I'll get to a certain part and I'll think, oh, if I'd read that earlier, I'd have done this differently. And that's what happened with this. So there was one section where it was talking about the sleeves, and part of this pattern said, oh, if you want it to look like this picture here, do this. And I only spotted that little section on the second sleeve. If I'd spotted it on the first sleeve, I'd have done it because I really liked the way it looked in the picture. But I was already on the second sleeve and I wasn't ripping back. So if I'd read that and read it before I'd started, I probably would have done it slightly differently. But I'm not unhappy with the way that it's turned out. In fact, I'm very happy with the way it's turned out. So looking back now, I'm not sure I would change it. But if I'd read it before I'd knitted the sleeves, I would have added some extra length just to get that kind of roll your sleeves up sort of slightly oversized look. But it's too late. We live and learn. Or maybe we don't, because I don't think I've started reading through patterns in any more detail prior to the actual casting on than I did before. Maybe I'll learn one day. But yeah, I know that's something I need to improve on, is properly reading through the pattern details before I start, so that I can go in fully informed with any adjustments or tweaks or, you know, anything that I want to personalize about the pattern. I try sometimes. But yes, I could have made the sleeves slightly longer for a more pushed up look. I didn't. But no, I'm actually really, really happy with the way this has turned out. And like I said, I've worn it so much. I wore it out last weekend. In fact, I wore it both days to 2 different events. So, you know, if you're wearing it in front of different people, they don't know you've already worn it the day before. Yeah, I've worn it so many times, and I've already started playing around with outfits and how to style it. And yeah, I just know that I'm going to get so much wear out of this. And, you know, good, because I spent long enough making it and I really like it. So I'm very, very happy with it. The Accentuating Crewneck sweater. It's so nice. It's so nice. Yeah. So I'm very glad to have finished it in the 3 weeks. So it is my fastest knitted sweater to date. To date might be a really key part there, because I may be about to break my own record. But I'll talk about that in a second. So yes, Accentuating Crewneck sweater by Zanete Knits in Along Anna merino and silk mohair yarn. So those are my finished objects for this week, and I do have some updates on my works in progress. I'm going to start on the Harlow V-neck sweater, because I have made some progress. Not a huge amount, but I have made a little bit of progress. So let's show you. I put a stitch marker there just after I spoke about it in the last episode, so that I could see how much I made in between episodes. So I've done a few rows. If I move that up, I've done that much. It's not going enormously quickly, partly because I'm working on other projects as well, but partly because at this point I'm doing colour work, but every round is 222 stitches. So it's taking quite a while to do a single round. We're adding the fact that I'm doing colour work, I'm catching my floats, I'm reading the colour work chart, and it's a colour work chart that I've designed myself, except when I designed it, I accidentally did it upside down. So I'm flipping it upside down in my head every time I read it. So it's there's a few different things that are slowing me down on this one, but I'm determined to keep going, absolutely determined to keep going, because I just know that I'm going to love this so much when it's done. And I think this is another one that I'm going to get a lot of wear out of, but it's getting there. I'm still very, very happy with those sleeves. Very, very happy with those sleeves. And yeah, we're just adding the length now. You're starting to see, oh no, it's just curling too much at the bottom for you to see that. We're starting to see the trees appearing on the body. My hair is just catching in all of this. So yeah, we're starting to see the trees appearing in the body area, and we are getting there. We are getting there, just a little slower than I'd like. But we are at the point where I'm using more of the pine cone, the darker brown, than the Dawn Haze, which was the main colour. And I think that's given me a little bit of a push, the fact that we're kind of halfway through the transition, if that makes sense. We're kind of over the crest of the swapping colours, so I feel like I'm making some movement. I feel like I'm getting somewhere. I know for a fact I'm going to get a second wind on this one once the colour work is finished. Once I've done the full transition and I'm just knitting in one colour again, I feel like I'm going to get a second wind, because it's going to feel like it's a straight shot to the finish then. So I feel like it'll pick up once the colour work is done, partly just for the fact that I'm not doing colour work anymore, but I feel like it will spur me on as well, and that's what I'm after. So yeah, and it's and one of the other things that's motivating me is that I know I will adore this when it's done. Today was exactly the kind of day where I would have worn this sweater. So now that we're having more of those days, every time they come about, I'm like, Harlow v-neck would have been perfect for today. And that thought, just having that there in my mind, is making me go, yeah, okay, I'll do another couple of rows on it. I'll do another couple of rows. So it's making a move. I obviously will need to fix one of the cuffs once it's done, because I made them in different needle sizes, but I don't feel like that will take too long either. I feel like that will probably, I'll have that done in a day, whichever way I decide to go, whether I decide to go up a needle size or down a needle size. I feel like the cuff I'll manage that in one day. So that shouldn't take too long. But yes, it's still moving. It is still moving, which for me is all that matters, because it's once I stop moving that they get put down and never see the light of day again. Which I have a few projects that are like that, but I do intend to pick them back up. And once I've gotten a few of these out of the way, I am planning on going back and picking some more up. But yes, Harlow v-neck sweater, still going, still in progress. I do have another work in progress that I've now started since the last podcast. And I did say last time that I was very much itching to get this cast on, and I have. So I have now cast on the Rockpool sweater by Lily Kate Makes, and I cast this on Friday. Yeah, Friday just gone. It's now Wednesday, and I have already I've already done all this. I am, like I did say earlier, that I think I might be about to break my only recently set record for knitted sweaters. So yeah, I've done all of this since Friday. So I've really gone on this one. I saw that record and I went, no, I can do better. So I will talk about the yarn first, actually. This is being knit up in Arcane Fibre Works, who I am affiliated with. If you wanted to buy any of their yarn, you can use code A Little Craft Room. That I'll put a link in the video description, and that will give you 10% off your first purchase with them. So yeah, they sent me this yarn a while ago, and I adored it. It was love at first sight for this yarn. I knew that I had to find something to make in it, because I just had to have it. It was beautiful. And I decided on the Rockpool sweater. So in fact, I will get a picture up. So the Rockpool sweater by Lily Kate Makes. I adore Lily Kate Makes' patterns. I've made a lot of them already. And I love the shape of this one. I love that kind of inverted triangle, the shaping towards the waist. So I decided that this one was going to be this yarn. So this is the Cherry Tea colourway. It's in their DK weight, and it is is it merino? I think it might be merino nylon blend. And That's not always my first base of choice to go with, but honestly, this is so soft. This is beautiful to work with. It feels lovely to knit, and the colours, I can't get over the colours. I think that's one of the reasons why I've been knitting so fast on it, is just because I'm obsessed with seeing those colours working up. Oh, thank you. That's very sweet of you to say. Yeah, this is my little sanctuary, my craft room. But yeah, I'm obsessed with how these colours are working up, and I think that's why I'm going so fast on it, is just because I keep wanting to see more and more and more of this yarn working up into this, and I can't wait for it to be done. I'm so excited to wear this. And like I said, it feels very nice as well. Like I said, I normally don't go for kind of too much nylon in my yarns, but this is stunning, and I'm so happy with it. It is standard signature Lily Kate kind of design. It's a top down knit with some shaping across the shoulders and short rows, and then you pick up stitches for the neckband and the sleeves. The sleeves for this one are going to be a bit of a new one for me. I've not done the kind of stitch pattern that the sleeves are going to require for this, so I'm quite excited to try those. I do think that will probably slow down the insane knitting speed that I'm currently working at, so I might not be about to break my own record here, but we will see. But I honestly can't see this taking me that long to do. I've been doing it, 5 days now. I can see this being done maybe by October? Maybe. I suppose that's going to depend on how much other stuff I've got going on in the next 2 weeks. But there's a chance I will have this finished by October. And I can't wait to wear it. I'm so excited to wear this, because it's those colours. It genuinely is. Those colours are stunning. I have one of the hanks, the skeins here, that's not yet. I've not caked this one up yet, and I am in love. It does look a bit like Neapolitan, yeah. It's got a Neapolitan vibe, but the kind of the inspiration is cherry tea, like with the cherry blossoms, and honestly, the inspiration picture alone was beautiful. But it's, yeah, you've got some whites, some pale pinks, some browns. You've got the pink going darker, almost to like a mauve kind of shade. It's, I cannot tell you how in love with these colours I am. And I don't normally go for pinks either. Like when I actually look, I'm very aware that I'm saying this wearing a pink cardigan, and I've just shown you a pink beret. But actually, I think these 3 are the only pink projects that I've made. Are they? Oh no, I've got another one. Maybe I do go for pink. Maybe I do go for it more than I thought. Yeah, in my head I was like, no, I never go for pink. I might have to reevaluate that statement. I do tend to gravitate towards blues and kind of whites and neutrally colours quite a lot. But maybe I pick more pink than I realise. But this, I can't get over it. There are some other little speckly bits in there, so you can just see some blues, some yellows, some kind of mustardy shades. There are a couple of purpley flecks in there as well. But this yarn, I am so in love with. I don't know, I keep saying that, but I don't think I can properly convey to you the full extent of my adoration of these colours. So yeah, very excited to get this finished. I have just come to the end of my second skein, and what I tend to like to do with sweaters is I will get the kind of the main chest area with the armholes done first. I usually like to knit to the end of the second skein, just so that I've not got like dangly bits and balls of yarn that are loose and hanging around. But I will immediately cast on for the neckband now, because when I'm trying them on and trying to get a gauge for how long it is and whether I want to keep it going longer, whether I want to stop it and have it slightly cropped, I find that having the neckband already done means that it lies closer to how it will when it's finished. If I put that on now with a half finished neckline, it's not sat exactly where it's going to be when it's finished. So I always feel like I'm not getting a proper reflection of how long it's going to be. So I prefer to get the neckband done very early on so that I can properly work out how it's going to sit. So that is going to be what I'm probably going to do the second I finish this podcast, is cast on for that neckband. It's quite a wide neck as well, which I think, apart from the Harlow V-neck, is probably the widest neckband of a sweater that I've made so far. Harlow V-neck obviously being a deep V, but a lot of the ones I've made so far have been kind of crewneck style or boat neck. They've all been quite, either like no neckband has been needed, or it's been quite a small, tight neckband. So this one is going to take longer than my head is going to make me believe it will take. In my head, I'm like, yeah, no, that's just a couple of hours. But I'm trying to prepare myself for the fact that no, it probably will take longer than a couple of hours. But yeah, I imagine by the time I film another podcast, this will have grown considerably, if it's not finished, because I am going so quickly with this. I can't believe I've done that in 5 days. I really can't, because I'm far faster at crochet than I am at knitting. I'm not normally this fast, and I'm very aware that I said that last episode. Maybe I'm just getting faster. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm getting faster at knitting, and I'm just surprising myself with how fast I'm getting at knitting, which, hey, that's not a bad thing. But yeah, that is going to progress considerably before the next podcast, I will imagine. I'm just so happy with this. I love these colours so much. But yes, Arcane Fiberworks, I am an affiliate. I'll put a link in the video description, but you can get 10% off your first order if you use my code. So, I actually don't have any acquisitions to talk about, because I've been very, very good. And I mean very, very good, because I even went to a yarn show at the weekend and I didn't buy any yarn. I know. I was walking out and there was some ladies stood by the front and they looked at me and they were like, your bag doesn't look nearly full enough. I was like, I haven't bought anything. I'm saving up for a new camera for the podcasting. So I was like, no, I'm going to be very good. I'm just going for the vibes and the happiness. But it does mean that I've got no acquisitions to talk about. How long have I been knitting versus crochet? That's actually an interesting question. I, like many people, my two very talented grandmothers, my gran and my grandma, were both amazing at knitting and crochet. Tried to teach me when I was about 6, and 6-year-old Nicola was really not that interested in knitting. I learned how to knit and how to purl, just literally those 2 stitches. That was about it. If I dropped a stitch, that was it. Nope, couldn't do that. I couldn't cast on, couldn't cast off. That was where I handed it to my mum and I was like, Mum, I need you to do that. If I dropped a stitch, I'd hand it to my mum. So I knew just the knit and the purl stitches, and that was about it. And really didn't pick it up all that much, wasn't too interested in pursuing it. But I always remembered those 2 stitches. And then when I was, how old was I? I was about 20 and scrolling through Pinterest and saw loads of crochet stuff, and I was like, I want to do that. I'm going to learn that and I'm going to make those. So asked my mum for a set of crochet hooks and a book for Christmas, taught myself to crochet, and very, very quickly got obsessed with it. I took to it pretty much immediately. And it wasn't like with knitting where I felt like I had to work and struggle for it. Crochet came very easily to me. So I really threw myself into the crochet, particularly in the couple of years before lockdown. And I started making toys and I started making blankets and scarves, and I loved it so much. And then as I started really getting into the crochet, started looking on crochet Instagram and things like that, but also knitting ones did come up at the same time. And that was when I kind of started to think, maybe I should give the knitting a go again. And at the time I was also asked to teach at school knitting and crochet, so I thought, okay, I probably need to step up on the knitting if I'm going to be asked to teach the kids how to knit. So I had to give myself a little crash course on knitting improving. So I did that in around 2018, and I made my first knitted garment in 2021. So how long have I been crocheting? The answer is about 9 years. How long have I been knitting? Technically, we're looking at 23 years, but realistically, we're looking at about 6. But properly knitting, we're looking at about 6 years. So it's an interesting, because technically I've known how to knit for a lot longer, but I never really got it. It wasn't something I saw much value in. I didn't get quite the appreciation and the love for it that I do now. I kind of wish I had developed it sooner, because I feel like I could have had so many more years of this love for all things squishy and yarny. But I can't change that. I can't go back. I'm just gonna enjoy what I do know now and what I do love about it. And maybe just knit at breakneck speed so I can make up for lost time. I think it does mean that crochet comes easier to me, more easily to me than knitting, because a lot of people do find that they are either a natural knitter or a natural crocheter, and they tend to find that one comes more easily to them than the other. I think for me that's crochet. I don't struggle with knitting, but if I'm doing a project and it has a specific knitting term, I'm more likely to need to look that up. Whereas if I'm crocheting and it has a specific increase or decrease, I will just remember it. I'm much better at remembering the little details of crochet. Whereas with knitting, I'll go, I'm just going to check how I do that again. So I've got a feeling that's always going to be the case. But I would say I'm fairly good at them both. But I think I'm always just going to have that slight edge on crochet. But yeah, to answer your question in a very long-winded way. So I am going to talk about my upcoming plans for the next couple of weeks, because I do have some yarny plans. Nothing too much going on this weekend, but next weekend I have knitty, crochet, yarny plans on both days, which is quite exciting. So on the Saturday the 30th, I am running a workshop with Truro Fabrics. I'm running a Learn to Knit workshop with Truro Fabrics. I've worked with them a couple of times in the past. I really love their workshop room. It's a very nice space. I really like it. And I'm running an Adults Learn to Knit class. Really looking forward to that. And then on the Sunday, super excited, it is the Knit Happens Open Day in Bodmin. And I am going to be there. I believe they've got some kind of exciting competitions and things going on, and I'm just ready for all the yarny goodness. I'm so excited about all these yarn and craft shows that are going on. It's the season for it, and I'm so here for it. I love it. So yes, I've got the Learn to Knit workshop on the 30th with Truro Fabrics, and then I've got the Knit Happens in Bodmin Open Day on the 1st of October on the Sunday. And I'm really looking forward to both of them. I love going. I love talking to yarny people and seeing all the pretty colours. And everybody always wears something that they've made, so you get to go around and pattern spot basically. And yeah, it's always such a nice time. And it was like that at the Kerno the Kerno Yarn and Fibre Festival last weekend. You could just see everybody in their handmade stuff and just look at all the gorgeous yarns and project bags and shawl pins, and it's always just such a nice vibe. And I just love events like that because everybody's so nice. I'm very aware as well that this weekend is Yarndale, but we're not going to talk about that because I'm too sad because I'm not going. Next year I'm gonna try and manifest it for next year, but it's not this year. But I think that is everything I needed to talk about this week. I've done my finished objects. Just going to show you my lily beret again, because I'm so excited about my lily beret. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see the testing pictures come out for this. I'm so excited to get this one out into the world. I've got another couple of patterns that I'm hoping to start working on very soon, so hopefully I will be able to show you some more designs in the future. But for now, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get myself hot chocolate because it's hot chocolate weather. Why not? So yes, thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I will see you soon. Bye.